Did you know? According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, 15.2 million people were employed in hospitality positions as of October 2015. Do they count as robots as well?
Do you live, eat, and sleep the hotel industry? Looking to brush up on your game? You've come to the right place. Welcome to No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast, with your host, Glenn Hausman.
All right. Hey, everybody. Glenn Hausman here, the host of the No Vacancy podcast. I'm so excited to have each and every one of you here with me every single week on our show. All right, so if I sound a little out of it today, that's because I have vacation brain. That's right, I took the last week off, first real vacation I've had in 2 whole years, if you can believe that. Sure, I stole a day here, I stole a day there, but it's my first chance to really take some time, reflect, kind of chill out, and separate myself from a lot of work that I had to get done. So I'm feeling pretty good. Although, man, am I exhausted. I took the family down to Orlando, and man, oh man, I don't think I ever walked so much in my life in such heat. But it was well worth it because the kids were super duper happy. I want to thank the great folks over at the Margarita Resort Orlando for a fantastic experience that I had. I'll be reporting more on that in later times, but it was so much fun to spend some time with those folks over there, learn more about the company, and take a really deep dive for a brand that I've been a big fan of for a while because they really understand who their target audience is. So we're going to get into that in another show, talk all to their executives about what makes their brand so special, and follow up on some of the older shows that we did in the early days of our podcast over here. So today's going to be a great show, but before we get into it, I want to thank the great folks over at Almo for being such a fantastic supporter. And I want you to make Almo Hospitality your go-to partner to simplify your FF&E deployments. Now get this, they have so many different lines of products that they do, and today I wanted to talk real briefly about guest comfort and convenience, right? So they offer alarm clocks, wireless charging, P-TAC air conditioners, hair dryers, safes, small and major appliances, and even mini bars with brands such as Conair, Cuisinart, Magic Chef, Danby, Emerson, LG, Nonstop, and more. Man, these guys are great. They can make your lives a lot simpler, and I know that they will help you save money. Now, don't you want to save money? You know you're getting pinched. Things are getting more expensive out there. But these guys are going to make sure that you're taken care of. And remember, Almo Hospitality is a division of Almo Corporation, the nation's largest independent distributor of professional AV, consumer electronics, major appliances, outdoor furniture, and housewares. Check them out at hospitality.almoproav.com. That's hospitality.almoproav.com. Hospitality.almoproav.com. See, guys, told you I had vacation brain. All right, so let's get into it for today. So the first interview today, I'm really excited about. We are going to be talking with a Fabian Bartnik, who is, reinventing the way that revenue managers can brush up on their skills and also show what their mettle is by creating a new revenue management esports league. How cool is that? So we're going to learn all about that and how all of you folks out there in the revenue management world can compete for, prizes and all sorts of fun stuff and show off to the whole world that you are the best revenue manager on earth. So we're going to talk to Fabian about that. Then we're going to feature a company called Makeready, a management company that you may or may not have heard of before, but they're doing some fun stuff, so I thought it'd be fun to present them to you this week. All right, so we're going to get right into it. So that way I could get back to grabbing the last straws of this vacation that I just had. As I'm recording this, it's Sunday afternoon on the day we're releasing this show, and I'm going to go take my kids over to a concert that they're performing in, and I hope you guys enjoy this show. Meanwhile, here is my conversation with Fabian Bartnik. Enjoy. Hey everybody, Glenn Hausman here from the No Vacancy Podcast, and I am with an old friend of mine, not meaning he's super old, he's probably around the same age, maybe probably a little bit younger than me because he's so dang good looking, Mr. Fabian Bartnick, my favorite person in all of the country of Singapore, okay? I know one guy in Singapore, but that's not the point of this conversation. I know Fabian Bartnick because we used to do some stuff together when he was running the sales over at a company called Logic, which focuses on revenue management. I was doing some great consulting for them when I started this business. Before I even started this No Vacancy Podcast, I was doing some great stuff with Fabian, and I learned all about what was going on in the revenue management world, and I became a big fan of it. Now, Fabian, you're up to some great new stuff, but you've been a master at revenue management for a long time now, and you've got a brand new business going. You got a brand new thing going. Two separate brand new things. I'm super excited for you, Fabian. How are you today, coming all the way to us from Singapore?
I am absolutely amazing. Thank you very much. My God, I've never had such an intro. I'm glad I'm the only person you know in Singapore. You know what I mean? Otherwise, we would be
otherwise you'd fall to the bottom of the pile real quick there.
Yeah, really fast. Boom. Down.
I still got to get over there. I still need to see that. I still need to see that country. I still need to see the oh God, I can't believe I forgot the name of the hotel. The Marina Bay Sands property over there.
Oh my God. Oh. Stunning.
That's absolutely incredible. I really, really want to see that thing. I want to go swimming in that infinity pool up on the roof there. But until I get to do that, I'm going to have to live vicariously through you, Fabian. So you're doing two new different things, taking your decades of experience in the world of revenue management and really trying to bring it full force into the 2020s and beyond. First thing is you're starting up a brand new company called Infinito, which is going to help take the whole idea of revenue management to the next level or two to help people do their jobs better. Could you explain that real quick to us?
Yes. So essentially, imagine it like Google Assistant meets Netflix, right? Mm-hmm. We created a virtual revenue analyst called Ivy.
Right.
And she is the digital extension of yourself.
Right.
So for me, the future is all of us will have some form of a digital assistant helping us throughout the day. It doesn't matter if you walk down your street and it already orders your coffee, and by the time you arrive there, it's already taken care of.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So that's the cool kind of stuff. But imagine you're going to a conference and there are 3,000 people and it says, Glenn, the only two people that you really need to meet is James and Amy.
And it is such a pain in the neck to find them because I don't know where they are. And it's really tough.
And here's the 5 people that can connect you. And by the way, when you talk to them, those are the 3 things that you have in common. Mm-hmm. And those are to directly get you off to a good start. Right? So what always frustrated me was we blame the user so easily in the revenue management game.
Right.
It's always easy to find in inverted commas, the weakest link. Mm-hmm. And we always have a talent crunch. And for me, it's twofold. A, we got to get a different approach out there. I mean, there was a Skift report, I think, in April that said 80+% are not using sophisticated stuff for revenue management.
Wow.
Stuff being, right? That's an awful lot. And considering we're on it for 25 years.
Right.
Like, hey, Glenn, you have this really great product that you put out there, but actually 80% of the industry don't use it. Oh, why not? Don't know. Right? Mm-hmm. But as the user, it's their fault. So for me, it's very much, how about we optimize the user? How about we learn you, rightly or wrongly, right? Without judging, and then upskill you along the way. So that's the Ivy part.
Right.
And part of it is the revenue league concept. And thank you again for posting that on.
Sure. So let me kick off this part of it. Go to therevenueleague.com, therevenueleague.com, because coming up in the next few months is the first ever Global Revenue Management Esports League. And I love the whole idea of this because I've been a big fan of the notion of the esports trend. I think it's doing some great stuff, especially with folks in the millennial generation and certainly in that Generation Z that is going to be entering the workforce any day now if some of them haven't already. So the whole idea of putting people together in a competition in the hotel industry with such a cool topic really, really excites me. Tell us a little bit about what your inspiration for this league was, but first I want to know all about it, how people can compete, and what is it all about?
Okay, so it's either therevenueleague.com or revenueleague.com.
It is therevenueleague.com right now, according to what I'm looking at on your
Correct,
website
absolutely.
on the internet.
Then we're going back to kind of thefacebook.com became facebook.com.
Yes. Well, once you pass age 45, you got to say the Facebook and the Google.
Yeah, and past the first 1 billion users, you can take.
That's right.
The idea was very much that there's so many talented people in the world, but because of some kind of circumstances, they'll never be able to be as fortunate as others. Right. Maybe they're never in New York. Right, but they were somewhere in the middle of nowhere, right? And we played with HSMAI in Asia Pacific a revenue simulation game. And I had a conversation with the organizer, Jackie, just before the conference itself. And I said, you know what, let's spice it up.
Right.
And let's get some virtual teams. And let's just post it out there and see if anybody is really interested.
Mm-hmm.
Like 50 people messaging me going like, absolutely, sign us up. Here's a team out of India. Here's a team out of Indonesia. Here's a team out of Europe. And we actually put people together that have never met before. They built a team together. They had discussions about revenue management and then competed in the game. And some of them even won.
Wow.
There were people in there that never worked in hospitality. That's the crazy part. And so I was sitting afterwards and I was like, you know what? Why don't we have a competition globally,
right?
Where people come in. I mean, we do it at Esports. It's going crazy. I mean, they even fly the people in to sit in front of a TV and game it.
Which is absolutely incredible. In fact, I just read here in the United States that a kid walked away, I think, with $3 million winning a Fortnite competition.
Unreal.
Unreal.
Our prices won't be that big.
Oh, come on, Fabian, you can do it.
No, next year. So essentially, there was a couple of hurdles that we wanted to overcome.
Right.
And one of the things we need to overcome is, A, you got to get the adoption from users. B, we got to have the tech community part of it. And then C, you got to get the hotels on board. We don't want to make it hotel specific. We want to make it Glenn specific.
Right. That makes a lot of sense because, you're trying to put your wits out there, not the brand that you work for's wits out there.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do we then get the brands involved?
Right.
Brands, I mean hotels.
Mm-hmm.
So what could hotels bring to the table? A, they could sponsor some of their players.
Right.
If they want to, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're envisaging to have simulation battle games where you can get badges. Right? So play the Infinito League or the game in order to beat the simulator, and therefore you go to the Pro League.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I think it's a continuous learning approach, whilst we want to connect it to a bit of collaboration and collaborative learning.
Right.
We want to make sure people can learn from each other. So imagine you're going into a round, you're battling it out, and then you're moving to the next round, and then we'll show all the results and what everybody did from the first round. So you can see how different people put their strategies in.
Right.
They use different levers, pricing, availability, whatever you want to name it, in order to gain an advantage. Because everybody in the game will essentially be a competitive hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you play, the more ranking you go up. And can you imagine you're in the top 100 globally?
Right.
We're talking talent crunch. There's 100 talents right there for you to take.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And in my future, for me, in the future, it's very important. You will do multiple jobs at the same time.
Right.
Right? You run your own business, I run my business. You do whatever it takes in order to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in the future, you will have the same thing. People will work for you on and off whenever the skill set is required.
Right.
And by understanding that, hey, you know what? Glenn is number 5 or number 2 globally in the revenue management space. Yeah, I want to invite him in because I have a couple of problems with 2 or 3 of my properties, and I only want him on a 3-month basis to fix my problems. I just pick his brain for a day, and therefore I fly him.
Right.
Why wouldn't we want to give that opportunity to somebody who never had that opportunity before? I mean, think of people in the hotels that are in departments, might not be able to speak the language. I worked with people during my high school year. They were PhDs and rocket scientists, right? But it wasn't accredited in that country, and therefore they weren't able to do what they really love.
Right.
You can do that, and then the world is your playground.
Right. Yeah, totally.
You got to gamify.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where the esports component. You can't just say like, hey, let's go, everybody, let's come together, let's have a revenue meeting, let's really talk about it. No, you got to have some. It needs to be fun. It needs to be something to look at it and go like, you know what? I won last week, and oh my God, do I want to win again?
Right. You know, you're absolutely right, Fabian. I travel all over the country, and when I'm doing these speaking engagements for management companies, the one thing I'm hearing over and over again is adding a gamification element to all aspects of what's going on at the property level. It gets people more engaged, it gets people more exciting. Now, you're taking it to even the next step that people hadn't really thought about, is giving people a way to have fun in their off time while learning from other professionals and honing and enhancing their skills in a meaningful way that in the end, if you prevail and are a champion, you're going to make yourself not just a better professional, but a better professional that everybody in the world can see and then hire you to come in to either consult or maybe get you that plum job that you're looking for. I love how it's all coming together and adding all of those elements, but most importantly, I think it's a great opportunity for a lot of the revenue managers I know to really put up or shut up about how talented they are.
I bet you the top 100 will essentially make their name known.
Yeah.
Bottom 100 will be teeny weeny 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I'll be numbers the bottom 100 if I was to participate.
It has so many different. I mean, the story is not written. In my opinion, it needs to be partly us driven, i.e., us vendors, technology vendors,
right?
Partly hotel driven, but equally community driven, right? What makes the game fun? Is it the same game over and over? How complex can you actually get before PhD to actually compete?
Right.
So there needs to be different levels, a bit like the Fortnite that you mentioned. You and I can play it. It's no issue. We're most probably rubbish at it.
Right.
Right? But we're having a good time playing it. Right? So maybe you have different subgroups. You might have different specialty leagues. And the feedback that we got from vendors was amazing. The people that I called and said, like, listen, I called people like SiteMinder, like Oki, like Upsell Guru, all the revenue management vendors, essentially. Hey guys, this is the idea. I know part of us are competing with each other on the day in, day out lives. But why don't we just put it aside and put really something together that will actually drive the sophistication of the players and therefore make the game we call hospitality much, much more interesting game.
Hey, this is not unprecedented. You can have companies that compete against each other have a good time. I think back to the 1970s Battle of the Network Stars, where you had the leaders from all the shows on ABC, NBC, and CBS here in the United States competing against each other. Now, if the networks in the United States could get along, I think different hotel companies could put up their revenue managers to see who's best.
Yeah, that was even before I was born, Glenn.
Yeah.
Glad you remember that.
Well, I'm old, man. I was born in 1970, so I used to love that show. I thought it was like the coolest thing. I think it was like 1978, 1979 or whatever, and it was just so awesome to see the stars that I loved on TV competing against each other in stupid events. All right, so Fabian, again, I just want to put out there that everybody could sign up right now at therevenueleague.com. That's therevenueleague.com, where you're going to get to pitch your talent against revenue teams worldwide by playing in automated simulations with commercial leaders and hotel revenue managers in a simulated test environment. So maybe you could give us a quick understanding of how it's going to work. If I'm playing the game, what exactly am I doing?
So in revenue management, you can go as complex or simple as you like, right? And we want to make it accessible to everyone. Mm-hmm. Equally make it so complex at the end that the real geeks, the guys that are really into numbers and everything else, can still play and have a good time.
Right.
But the initial level might not be of interest. It's been coming back to your Fortnite one. The guy who took 3 million, pretty sure is happy to shake our hands and meet us.
Right.
But if us to battle him in a competition, he might just say, no, guys, seriously, come back when you have a certain...
It would just be a waste of his time otherwise. Why would you want to do that?
Correct. And the way we envisage it is we will set the parameters and we give people, so to speak, a scenario, a framework to say. So this is what you're playing in. This is the game this week. This is the demand drivers. So we're looking at different markets of how they're behaving, and then saying, okay, this week you're playing in Singapore, right? There's a total of ABC hotels, right? And then you give different parameters around what people book, how much they're willing to pay, what possibly could switch them from one to the other.
Right.
And then you could be able to set pricing, you can set ranking increases, you can do what you do in your normal life, just in a simulated game environment. And the nice part is all the players are essentially forming the market.
Right.
And you can add things, take out things, possibly in the future you can buy with some credits, additional market insights.
Right.
There's a lot of I'm going back to the days of Zelda.
The Legend of Zelda, the old Nintendo game?
Correct.
Yeah. I played that.
Different games.
I got so into to that one year, I decided to play that game rather than study for my finals when I was in college one year. By the way, I did great in the game.
Did you finish your finals?
I finished the finals. More accurately, they finished me. But that's another story for another day.
That's okay. So it's taking. I mean, there's a couple of things in it. So it's a game. It needs to be continuously. So whilst you can throw out some prize money, you can even throw out, hey, I want to sponsor Glenn to do now his bachelor or his MBA, or I want him to work for us. Mm-hmm. Right? He's a great guy. Let's bring him into New York, or let's bring him somewhere else and give them a chance.
Right.
Maybe before they did. The difficulty will be, how do we keep it entertaining? Mm-hmm. Right? In Fortnite, you can constantly possibly bring in new stuff, a new gun, a new this, a new that. How do we do that in a space that is limited to the sphere at this point in time, revenue management? But what if we bring in sales aspect? What if we're bringing in marketing? Mm-hmm. And you said the communication part can be used everywhere in the hotel. Right. So let's take level down and bring in customer satisfaction. Mm-hmm. And some other stuff, and put in some F&B revenue, or whatever you want to name it. The concept of simulations is nothing new. I mean, when I went to college, we had a simulation game that we played over 6 months, right? But it was the old way of doing things. It wasn't sexy, right? It wasn't interactive. It wasn't quick. It wasn't global, so to speak. But yet, it did the same thing. It forced you to think about the actions that you want to do, see the reaction, and therefore you're making new connections in your brain to say, hang on a second, I saw this guy, Glenn, always winning. He always puts his pricing like this. He puts some overrides in here.
Right.
He does some stuff there. How about I try that in my real life?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we want to have. Or even better, calls you and says, hey, Glenn, quick question.
Right.
How do you how come you're so awesome?
Yep. I love that. Well, it's a question nobody's ever asked me before, so I thank you for saying that, even if it wasn't a real question. But, Fabian, what I am thinking here is what a great way to learn from other people and reveal those things you didn't know, right? That's one of my favorite things in life is what you don't know. How do you go about learning that stuff so you can be a better professional? And this is exactly the type of thing that is going to help reveal that while bringing you in closer contact with folks that are at the top of their game that you could learn from. So, Fabian, any final thoughts on what you're doing before we wrap this up?
I think everybody should join.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's free to join. It's going to be a lot of fun. Leading up to the first event, we're gonna push stuff out to the community and say, hey, is this a better approach or is that a better approach? And help us make this game actually the best it can possibly be. Because what we have at heart is to make the community better.
Right.
To have everybody in the industry have the chance to be, whatever you want to call it, big shot, whatever it might be, to make something and take that next level in their life. And if you're on top of your game, good on you, prove it, show it, that you are one of the leaders, and then give back to the community. So when somebody asks you, hey, how are you doing it? Don't close the door, but say, okay, let me mentor you, let me help you, let me take you.
Excellent. Well, the event itself is taking place on Saturday, November 16th. That's Saturday, November 16th. But sign up right now so you can get fully engaged and everything at therevenueleague.com. That's therevenueleague.com. Fabian, thank you so much for being here today. It's been great to catch up with you, and I'm excited to see how many people you're going to get to this. I know it's going to be thousands and thousands of folks and teams competing against each other. How great. I want to learn more about it as we get closer to the date, and maybe we get the winners on as well come late November. All right?
Cool. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, everybody. We'll be right back after this, but go to therevenueleague.com to sign up and join. And why don't you drop us a line over here at the podcast, and that just find us on social media at Traveling Glenn, or go to novacancynews.com and tell us why you think you're going to win, what makes you a great revenue manager. All right, we'll be right back after this.
Have a question for your host, Glenn? Tweet him now at Traveling Glenn. No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, Glenn Hausman here. So you know that today's travelers have a growing interest in city center, hyper-local hotel experiences, right? Tell me something I don't know. And I'm here to tell you how you can affordably tap into that market. That's because the Red Collection, offered by Red Roof, has been developed after comprehensive research into what these travelers truly desire. Modern, accessible, affordable accommodations in the heart of cities they love. This fast-growing group of upper-mid-scale unique hotels is inspired by each city's vibe and culture. And every property in the Red Collection has its own distinctive name, customized property enhancement plan, and brand standards based on consumer wants rather than design mandates. How refreshing. Because all of this is backed by Red Roof, franchisees get the advantage of their owner-operated perspective, as well as a loyalty rewards program with more than 3 million members that just happens to be the richest in class and least expensive for franchisees like you. Plus, you'll be working with a company with a franchisee satisfaction rate at 89%. And those franchisees will tell you, genuine relationships, real results. It isn't just a slogan, it's actually how Red Roof does business. So to learn more about the Red Collection, I want all of you to contact Matt Hostetler. He's Red Roof's Senior VP of Development and Franchising, but you knew that already. Mr. Matt Hostetler, you can find him at 713-576-7426 or email him at mhostetler@redroof.com. That's MHOSTETLER at redroof.com. And tell them Glenn sent you.
Back to the show. It's No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast with your host, Glenn Hausman.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another segment here on the No Vacancy podcast. Man, I'm excited today because we're going to be talking to a company that a lot of you out there may not be familiar with, but I've been learning about them. I think they're fun, they're different, they're doing some interesting things that each and every one of us can learn from today. So it's going to be really cool because I gotta be honest with you. I never heard of these folks before, but that is about to change, and we are going to get educated in a big way. I should say we're going to get ready, or I should say Makeready, which is the name of the company, because we've got Christine Magrann on the phone. She's a COO. Christine, how are you today?
I'm great, Glenn. Thanks. Great.
Super to have you here today. So I think most of us in the hotel business have heard of the Adolphus Hotel in Dallas, but I had no idea that this was part of your organization. How long has Makeready been around?
Makeready's been around for about 4 years, and 4 years. So new in the industry for sure.
So how did the company come together? And already you've got a half a dozen hotels in your portfolio, with one under construction right now. But I wanted to talk to you all about the restaurant aspect of it too. But first, let's hit those hotels.
Yeah. So we're a company that is involved with. We work with owners to help them realize the vision of some of these special type of properties. We help to design, concept, and then turn it into operations. We really seek to look with owners who are interested in creating hotels with their own distinctive point of view. So creating independent brands that stand on their own, with food and beverage and retail experiences that really orbit around the hotel experience.
And I think that's really where the hotel industry is moving today, Christine. And I think you guys are smack dab right in the middle of the trend. In fact, aside from the Adolphus, these very nice upscale properties. I got two that are in the Tribute portfolio from Marriott, for example, and some other great properties. So the thing that excites me most is the direction that you are in, where the industry seems to be heading. So when you created this company, when this company was created 4 years ago, it sounds to me that you're all trying to approach the new way hospitality is being done and kind of reinvent the rules as you go along. Is that true?
Sure. That's right. A lot of other companies, I think the market's really recognizing the guests want more. They want to connect to the community. They want to be deeper, have a deeper understanding of what's happening in the local community, connecting into the artistry and the history and the past, while being very respectful of what it means to the city.
Right.
Also evolving it into a modern sense of place of where the guests want to be today, right?
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about then how you concept and craft special and experiences that are going to be at the property level. And I think this might be a good place for us to start with the food and beverage component, because the food and beverage component seems to be, I think, the centerpiece of the new way that people are thinking about hospitality. But at the same time, the hotel industry has struggled with the whole way of operating successful restaurants within a hotel. Now, you've got more than 24 restaurants, and most of them are in hotels. So tell me a little bit about how you are able to create successful dining concepts that are making money for hoteliers in places where they used to just, sweat out the income through.
It's so true.
Right?
So my background...
Because I got to tell you, I'm really blown away by the whole notion that you can actually make money at restaurants and hotels. It seemed anathema to everything the hotel industry touted for decades. So tell me about your history and how that puzzled all together. Sorry, Christine. I'm getting really excited about this.
No, it's true. It's hard. It's a hard part of our industry. And as I was building the team and the foundation of Makeready, there's a lot of restaurateurs and chefs and culinary directors on our team.
Right.
And our team is really built from independent restaurateurs. So there's not a lot of people that have worked in the hotel food and beverage side. I really look to pull people from my experience in my past, which was working with independent restaurants and building and concepting. It's harder because you have to fight for every guest, every day, every plate. You know, your hostess has to be great. Your servers, everybody has to be an ambassador of the brand.
And you're working with super razor thin margins as well, Christine. I mean, much tighter than a typical hotel. So please continue.
That's right. It is. And the goal for us is that if we can create really unique and compelling restaurants and retail bar experiences, we do believe that will increase the ADR for the owners as well. So it's a total package, right? How do you drive restaurants from a local community, pull in that local consistent market, and then help the traveling guests want to be part of that? And so that's really where we focus on trying to couple those together. And it's tough. We make mistakes. We're very swift at editing. In the restaurant industry, it's one of the differences, I think, in independent restaurant touring. You edit swiftly, remembering your true north, but making sure that every day you're really analyzing, are we capturing the guest? Are we talking to the local market? Are we cooking for the guest? Or are, I think in our past, in the restaurant industry, chefs sometimes can cook for their egos. So we look really hard to seek to find that chef that wants to cook for what the guest is looking for.
I remember, I got to tell you, Christine, because one time when I was just a little itty-bitty Glenn, and I was out to dinner with my parents, I must not have been more than 9 or 10 years old at the time, and we went to a restaurant that was relatively upscale, and I just wanted ketchup with my steak, and the chef was so insulted that the waiter had to come back out and tell us that the chef would not provide me with ketchup because it did not have to do with his vision as a chef.
Right.
All right. Now I'm just a 9-year-old kid who just wanted his ketchup here, and I've seen that kind of go to other restaurant establishments throughout the decades, and I just find that completely tragic, because if you're not appealing to the people you need to appeal to, how are you going to make any money in your property, right? I mean, it all just goes back to simple things of making the customers happy. So in the restaurant atmosphere, then, when you find those chefs that have that right ethos in place, what do they do in order to create an environment that is successful? And yes, I understand if a dish isn't working, you do that editing and switch things up.
Yeah, it's great. The ketchup story comes up a lot, right? And I think, if somebody's willing to pay you for ketchup, let's give them ketchup, right? Just it has to be the best ketchup out there, whether that's Heinz or, whatever that is.
It's actually Eddie's Real Tomato Ketchup from the Vacation movie.
I like it.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? That real tomato ketchup.
Of course, Eddie.
Hey, nothing but the best for you, Christine. Yeah, so that's what I think.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. We changed our recruiting strategy. Actually, I changed my recruiting strategy several years ago in our industry, and I really looked for chefs that wanted to be great leaders of people,
right,
as much as they wanted to be great cooks in the kitchen,
right.
And sometimes it's about the very best burger you possibly can. And if we have a French fine dining restaurant like the French Room, that's a different style of cooking. But first and foremost, it has to be a chef that wants to be a leader and groom and develop people. And I think once you find those culinary leaders, then you find there's a humbleness in them wanting to please and be real hospitalians. And so that's what we look for. And there's a lot of great chefs out there that are great for other companies, but they're just not ideal for Makeready as we grow and have a real commitment to succession planning. We look for the person that wants to be a great leader of people, wants to please our guests, and then that creates success for us in the long run. And we're starting to see that pay off right now.
All right, so before we get into other stuff, the recruitment talent part is such an essential building block to the entire success of the business. But we've gone from a society that makes things to a service-oriented society in a lot of ways. The restaurant industry itself has exploded over the last 20 years. And in fact, if you take a look at some of the statistics out there, outside of the home dining is something like 50% of all meals at this point right now, which means sure, there are more people out there eating, which is great for potential profits, but it makes it harder to find those right people. So how do you create that engaged group? How do you create those or find those people that are going to be so awesome they can help you with that most essential building block that everything else can be created on top of?
Yeah, it's hard. You're right. And, as you mentioned, we are a new company. So that makes it even more difficult because who's Makeready? So we spend 30-40% of our time in the interview process just explaining who Makeready is and what our vision is. So the way that we've really tackled it is that I created a committee in our company and I'm like, hey guys, we need to go after this with a lot of horsepower. And a couple ways is we created Makeready University, where we're actually developing and grooming. It's an 18-month course where we will circulate all of our team members who are interested in further growth through kind of the basic foundations of hospitality for Makeready into what becoming a leader means. So that's a great way for us to succession plan. The other piece of it is
I'd like to also jump in there, Christine, that it also helps hires understand that there's a pathway for their career, which I think engages them a lot more than if you would just hired them then let them loose, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. And then it creates a really strong foundation of people that have been with us from an hourly position, moving into, an assistant manager all the way up to director level positions.
Great. So please continue.
The other yeah. And so then we also really focus on an ambassadorship program, people that are ambassadors of Makeready, what Makeready stands for. And we really focus on a strong employee referral. So we want all of our team members going out and saying, who's going to be our next team members to help succession plan? And so we incentivize them for that. A lot of companies do that. That's nothing new.
Right.
But getting that ambassadorship team together has been a really strong focus of ours, so that when we're recruiting, we have a lot of layers out there recruiting, not just the directors or the GMs who are looking for their team, but also those hourly team members who are looking for a partner to be next to them every day in the field. And it's working. So I find more and more every 6 months as we analyze, more and more people are coming to us and saying, hey, what does this Makeready thing about? Hiring people that are really high regarded in the industry has been a key initiative. Because, once you find that Brian Jones is our SVP of Sales and Marketing, once you find him, people will follow because he's got such a strong reputation. Or Justin Fields, our SVP of Restaurants and Bars. He makes recruiting easier because people respect him and he has a deep market out there. So that's been a big initiative as well, as finding those key leaders that are regarded in the industry has helped us a lot as well.
That's fascinating. Okay, so then what gives you guys the guts then to take your restaurant experience and start getting into the hotel business? Because a lot of people are going to say, hey, you can't be in the hotel business if you're in the restaurant business, and we're not going to be in the restaurant business if you're in the hotel business, or at least if we're going to be in the restaurant business, we're going to stink it up a lot. But I'm looking at your Halcyon Hotel in Denver, and according to TripAdvisor, you're number 4 of 171 hotels. So that is an incredible feat for such a new company.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's not like you guys just started operating hotels 20 minutes ago. You probably had some career. You probably had some experience, right?
Sure. Well, listen, we look really for people that are very, very hospitality and service oriented, and that's what our backgrounds are. And so listen, our industry is tough, and it takes tenacious leadership. It takes people that are optimistic and want to push through and just make guests happy. So it is a little, it's risky saying, hey, let's take a good portion of our company and hire strong restaurateurs, and then the other part of our company are strong in sales and marketing and revenue management. You couple those together, and you have a team of people that are really committed from a strategic revenue building side, and then you have it coupled with really service-oriented people that understand every guest matters. And hopefully we'll be able to compete with those out there that are doing it really well. So I think, we get asked that question a lot because we have that strong restaurant background. But at the end of the day, it's about service, and it's about really paying attention and being good listeners to what our guests are telling us. That's how we're winning on TripAdvisor in our different markets. Noelle is in Nashville. It's a great market for us as well, but it's tough. A lot of really good, talented operaters in that market.
Well, in Nashville, Nashville in particular, where in the last 7 to 10 years, the absolute number of hotels that have gone in there is insane. And according to Lodging Econometrics, it's still one of the top 5 markets for new hotels. So tell me a little bit more about that listening thing. How does it really translate into guests spending more when they're on property, coming back more time and time again, and getting folks and getting out there with great word of mouth as well?
Yeah, great question. So Nashville speaks loud, very loud, and they do not hold back what they're looking for, which is it's fun. It's a thriving, fun, intelligent city, very driven on energy, creativity, and so what we really did is we listened. We tapped into an amazing interior design and architect firm there, Dade, and Nick Dryden is the leader there, and he was our interior design. And Jim Merkel with Rockbridge, he's CEO of Rockbridge, is the owner of that property. Well, he and Nick met, and then that really then introduced Nick and I when I got involved with the project. And and as you dig in to one influencer or one really respected leader in the community, such as Nick, it starts to create layers of relationship. So then we meet with Bryce McLeod, who's a local artist there, who has such passion and love. He's a true Nashvilleian.
Right.
And we knew, as we dug in deeper, we knew that this hotel was not going to be about music and guitars, but it was really going to be about the history of Printer's Alley, which is what we back up to, and the artistry, the history and the artistry of that city. It goes so many layers deep. We knew we wanted to name the building after the Knoll family, who was the original developer.
Sorry. So it's Knoll, not Noel. That's my apologies.
No, Glenn, it is Noel. We
Oh,
named
okay.
the hotel Noel.
Oh, okay.
But the original family was the Knoll family. And
Okay.
so that's how that all kind of came together.
I see. Okay.
And so we met with the Knoll family, and they gave us archives and all kinds of memorabilia from newspaper clippings. So when they were there, and they owned it originally as a hotel in the early 1900s. And so that's what we do to listen. We go and we really try to seek to understand, what did it mean to the city? Let's be very respectful of that. And then let's make sure that we're creating moments of where the guests want to visit today. And I think the guests, we're storytellers. We want to engage them with the city. We want them to walk away saying, wow, I learned about Nashville. And we want them to have a love and affection for the city that we are operating this business in, into the local cultures, and into just honoring the past,
right,
and being respectful of what the future has and what the guests are looking for today.
And one of the things that guests are looking for is what you claim, Noel, is, and I don't mean claim in a negative way. That's the way you're saying it. Bad word. But you say it's a creative gathering place and an experiential hotel. So realistically, what does that mean for me? I want to be creative. I like gathering with people. How are you going to help me as a guest find that creative center that I need in order to be successful in my endeavors?
Sure. So our retail shop there is a special place. So Keat is the name of our retail shop. And if you go into Keat, we have over 65 different local artisans that we carry in that shop. But what's especially cool is that's hard. And it's time-consuming, but it is special. What's especially cool is that once we found a few of those different curators, we realized they're also leather makers. And so if you look at every bar stool that we have at Noel, there's a local craftsman. Yeah, so he actually designed and created, Emil Irwin is his name. He designed all of our bar stools up at Rare Bird on the rooftop, in the trade room. And so we pull that history into, also, if you're looking to be creative and learn a little bit more about the city, if you go onto each one of our corridors, we have a different artist that is curated, either painted or produced some kind of artistry on the walls. And we put a plaque next to each one of those to describe. So one is about African-American history. One is about musical history. One is just icons of the city. Some of them are athletes, like Too Tall Jones. We have a story about him. So it helps people learn. We also have an artist and author series that we do, such as in Dallas, where once a month we collect a group of artists or authors, and they come in, and it's complimentary to the guest, and it holds about 75 to 100 different people in our salon, and it's a way for people to get up and speak publicly, and it could be any just local community person. Or they can come in and actually listen to an author themselves discuss why they wrote a book or why they're passionate about a series of paintings that they've done. Right. So it's a way for them to connect. Of course, we have the cocktail classes and the wine classes and things that I think a lot of people do in our industry. But we also try to bring in that local sensibility as well.
I like that local sensibility part of it, because that's really the whole idea of community building. And one of the things that we talk about here on the No Vacancy podcast all the time, and some of the other shows that I do is as well, such as Checking In with Anthony and Glenn and the Hotel Design podcast, is creating those spaces that really get people to interact, creating a sense of what I call instant community, so people feel connected to the hotel they're at and the individuals around them, which is not only good for the soul, it gets those people in the right mood to spend their money, which helps make hotels like Noel more profitable.
That's right. That's exactly right. You know, we created an editorial piece, which we actually create every 3 months, and it's 16 pages, and it's a newspaper size piece. And in it, it's called The Line, and in it is all kinds of stories about the city of Nashville. Could be historical, could be something that's up and coming. but it's more than just a page to tell you, hey, this is what's happening in the city this month on, August 15th, you can go here. It's more learning about the influences of why Nashville has become what it is today. And it's amazing how many people request those from us at the front desk. There's one in every guest room, and they're spread, throughout the city and throughout the hotel. We produce it at Noel. But we'll have people actually say, hey, I want a couple more of these copies because I'd like to take them to my colleagues or my friends at home.
Right.
And I think that people really feel that they are connected, and then there's a sense of community. So we'll see people email each other and say, hey, I met you at this author series, or I met you in the retail shop when we were speaking about a different curator. And they had never met each other before, but it creates this real sense of community, sense of a traveling community, which is pretty special.
Wow, that is pretty special. But you know what? Nashville's a market that everybody is into. But you also have the Cliff House, a luxury hotel in Cape Neddick, which I think is Algonquin, Maine. So
That's right.
Not a household name. So what is the R&D process for you when you're thinking about opening a hotel in a major city everyone's heard of compared to a city that's not really in part of the vernacular?
Yeah, it's more about, is the location, is there a specialness about the location?
Right.
Is there something that we can really pull stories, authentic, real stories from? And as we dig in, will those stories start to slowly unravel and reveal themselves? Versus, I think, in a lot of the markets, and there's a lot of hoteliers that are doing this really well, there's stories that are kind of forced, or the guest is looking for it, so let's figure out how to create a solution. We rather try to look in different locations that have really special history or special stories about them. Savannah is another market, right? Cliff House in Maine is beyond special in its location.
And for those of you who can't
beauty.
see, because it's an audio podcast today, it's like literally right on these incredible cliffs over the Atlantic Ocean. Looks absolutely stunning.
It's so stunning. And in the summer, of course, Maine is thriving, and it's really it's when we're busiest. But I'll tell you, Glenn, I was there in January, and it was snowing, and the northeasters coming in. It's 4 degrees, and it was remarkably special just to see that coming in over the ocean, that type of weather, and in that location, it feels very lodge luxury,
right?
And it's pretty great. Yeah,
right. Yeah. Awesome.
Very special place.
So how you've got this special place, you've got all of these special places. How do you let customers know that these places are existing? How do you cut through the clutter to not only show that you exist, but that you are the most hospitable hospitality brand out there that you can be?
Yeah, well, that's the trick, isn't it?
Yeah,
we're still working on
I know.
exactly
You like how easily I said that. Now, if only the answer could be that easy. But I sounded pretty confident. So let's hope you can make something up pretty good here. Go for it.
Yeah, well, part of it is because we are fortunate that we have these types of hotels, and we work with owners that have such commitment to the vision. They really stay committed to that true north.
Yep.
It helps us to find people that work with us, and they then become our team members that really, truly love what we're doing. And so that's a big piece of it, is that as we're getting connected into the community, whether it's through conferences and trade shows and selling in the way that a lot of different hoteliers do, there's an innate passion that you can really feel from our team. So that's one way. We have an amazing digital strategist on our team. The digital industry moves so swiftly. I love it. I think it's great for us. I hope that it really helps us to move the needle on getting away from the OTA world as much as we are locked into it right now. But hiring a really strong digital strategist and having partners in that arena has been beyond influential for us. And it helps us to have strong websites, strong messaging. Our branding partners are a really critical step in the development stage, making sure that we have the right branding and messaging partners to help us articulate our story. Because I think when you go to our websites, you can feel there's an emotional connection to the imagery and the verbiage. Right. And we don't want it to come across as just words. We want it to go from paper to people, right? And so being committed to that digital side of it has been a great strategy of ours right from the start.
Right. And I will add for those listening right now, take a look at some of these properties and the way that the websites are done, because the use of photography is absolutely incredible. Now, I know there are a lot of you out there that say, hey, I could just take the pictures myself or whatever, but you can't. You're hoteliers. You're not professional photographers. And what you've been able to do with this is you are able to connote very accurately the experience that people are going to have. And it's really easy for you to imagine yourself being as part of this. Just alone looking at the Cliff House one, you've got hashtag Cliff House Memories. You've got great pictures up here of a beautiful breakfast overlooking the sea, or the fact that there's this guy who's a bicyclist holding the bike over his head, and it really makes you feel like, oh, I could have these experiences too, right? I mean, it's just absolutely beautiful. And all of these pictures that you've taken on all your websites, I'm sitting here right now going, dang, I really wish I could stay at one of these hotels. So strong visual images are essential. All right, I got to be honest with you, I'm not going to do the biking thing, but I want to think that I can.
Okay, but I got to tell you this. I'm laughing at that because I'm going to tell you this, Glenn. So last Saturday, 2 days ago, we had 37 riders from Makeready ride between 4,500 and 100 miles for Pelotonia for a charity that cancer research. And that's our director of revenue management holding this up. And he rode 100 miles, which is a lot, 100 miles.
Yeah,
that's what that is.
That is a whole absolute lot. This is awesome. So what's next for you guys over at Makeready? How are you getting, other than, being on this show here, how are you getting the word out, showing that you guys are actively working on and developing these properties with, great people like Jim Merkel?
Yeah, so, what's next for us, I believe that slow and steady wins the race. And so we're trying to be very thoughtful about how we grow the company and what makes sense for us next. We are working on a few other projects right now. We're in the design phases. There's some opportunities in Columbus that we're looking at, which will be new market for us, and then some other cities. Right. But and then also the expansion of the restaurant side of our business. We have 2 independent restaurants right now. One is in New Orleans, Couvent in New Orleans, and the other is in Charleston, South Carolina, at Hanks. Hanks has actually been around. It's iconic. It's been there for about 18 years. We took over the management and leadership of it about 3 years ago, and it's thriving. And so the idea that we could expand Hanks into other markets is very realistic, and that would just be all about timing. So, it's important to us that we work with owners and partners that have a vision and really want to position a property into something that's special and has longevity. We do currently work with a couple brands, as you mentioned. I think we'll continue to really focus on the independent side of our business. We feel like there's there's good success there. It makes sense for us. Each one of our properties are so unique. We do have some good Makeready brand standards, but in a way that does not make it feel like it's repetitive, but it's more from behind the scenes efficiencies and seeing what that guest is looking for. Like our 10-minute coffee program is a really successful program for us. And I suspect that we will do that in all of our hotels. We have the Nook, which is a beverage hydration station that is in a lot of our hotels right now, and we'll continue to do that as well. So just making sure that we're finding locations where the guests appreciate that and the owners are looking for that type of commitment is what we're focusing on.
Beautiful. Absolutely love it. What a terrific story this is. Is there anything that I have failed to ask you that you're just dying to share with everybody today?
I don't think so. Thanks for having me on. This is fun, and I love No Vacancy. I think you guys do a really great job, and I love listening to it. So,
well, thank you so much. And Christine, for that, you have now earned yourself a shameless plug for saying nice things about us here over at No Vacancy. So plug yourself away. How can we find you?
Yes. So listen, go on to MakeReadyExperience.com and you'll see all of our different hotels, restaurants, bars, and retail. Retail is a really strong part of our businesses as well. Keep Shop is our shopkeeping brand. And you'll see us popping up in several different locations, maybe outside of the hotel industry as well.
Beautiful. I absolutely love it. I want to thank Christine for being here today. What a great conversation that was. You see, even a company that hasn't been around for a long time can create distinctive, exciting, and exceptional types of products out there. So I hope you learned a lot from us this week. Be sure you reach out to us here at the No Vacancy shows. Just find me at Traveling Glenn. Find us on LinkedIn. Find us on Facebook. Find us wherever your social media is, either at No Vacancy or the Checking In podcast or at Traveling Glenn if you want to drop me a line. Well, I will be back next week. That is, unless I decide to go biking up in Maine and accidentally drive myself off a cliff. See y'all next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for listening to No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast, with your host, Glenn Hausman, online at rouse.media, on Twitter at Traveling Glenn, and on Facebook.com/Glenn.Hausman. We'll catch you next time.